This interconnection, or accommodation of all created things to each other, and each to all the others, brings it about that each simple substance has relations that express all others, and consequently, that each simple substance is a perpetual, living mirror of the universe. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Greetings, mortals. I'm your host Simon, welcoming you back to the Library of Gnosis. One big conundrum that has puzzled philosophers for ages is the question of a personal versus a non-personal God. This is what we will be discussing today. In the realm of metaphysics, philosophers have long delved into questions about the nature of reality, existence, and the fundamental building blocks of the universe. One concept that has captured the imagination of thinkers across various traditions is the notion of the monad. From ancient Greek philosophy to the modern ideas of Leibniz, the concept of the monad has undergone intriguing transformations and interpretations. This video aims to explore the concept of the monad, its historical development, and its significance in understanding the nature of reality. The concept of the monad finds its roots in the philosophy of the ancient Greeks, particularly in the works of Pythagoras and later Plato. Pythagoras introduced the concept of the monads, representing a fundamental unit or indivisible entity that underlies all of existence. Plato expanded upon this idea by positing that the ultimate reality consists of forms, or ideas, which are eternal and perfect, akin to monads in their indivisible and unchangeable nature. According to Hippolytus, the worldview was inspired by the Pythagoreans, who called the first thing that came into existence the monad, which bore the dyad from the Greek word for two, which begat the numbers, which begat the point, begetting lines or finiteness, etc. It meant divinity, the first being, or the totality of all beings. In his Latin treatise, Maxima Theologia, Allen of Lille affirms, God is an intelligible sphere, whose center is everywhere, and whose circumference is nowhere. The French philosopher Rabelais ascribed this proposition to Hermes Trismegistus. The symbol relates to the Christian Trinity. Allen of Lille mentions Trismegistus' book of the 24 philosophers, where it says a monad can uniquely beget another monad, in which more followers of this religion saw the coming of being of God the Son from God the Father, both by the way of generation or by the way of creation. This statement is also shared by the pagan author of the Asclepius, which sometimes has been identified with Trismegistus. The Euclidean symbolism of the center sphere also concerns the secular debate of the existence of a center of the universe. The idea of the monad is also reflected in the demiurge, or the belief of one supreme being that brought about the creation of the universe. For the Pythagoreans, the generation of number series was related to the object of geometry, as well as cosmogony. According to Diogenes Laertius, from the monad evolved the dyad, from it numbers, from numbers points, then lines, two-dimensional entities, three-dimensional entities, bodies, culminating in the four elements, earth, water, fire, and air, from which the rest of our world is built up. One of the most notable proponents of the monad in Western philosophy is the 17th century German philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. In his seminal work, Monadology, Leibniz developed a comprehensive metaphysical system that revolved around the concept of the monads. According to Leibniz, monads are simple substances that possess perception and consciousness, albeit to varying degrees. Each monad is unique and self-contained, representing a microcosm that reflects the entire universe. These monads do not interact casually, but rather harmonize with each other in a pre-established harmony orchestrated by God. The idea of a pre-established harmony is central to Leibniz's philosophy of monads. It suggests that monads act in perfect harmony with each other, despite their lack of direct interaction. This pre-established harmony ensures that seemingly separate experiences of different monads align with a unified reality. It implies that the entire universe is a symphony of monads, each playing its part without interfering with the others. This concept allows for the reconciliation of determinism and free will within Leibniz's framework. While Leibniz's monology provides an intriguing metaphysical system, it has received both praise and criticism from contemporary philosophers. Some argue that the concept of the monads resonates with modern scientific discoveries, such as quantum mechanics, which suggests that reality at its most fundamental level may consist of discrete and indivisible units. Others, however, criticize the monadology as overly complex and lacking empirical grounding. The concept of the monad is not exclusive to Western philosophy. Similar ideas can be found in Eastern philosophical traditions. For instance, the concept of the Tao in Taoism and Brahman in Hinduism can be understood as monad-like entities that underpin the fabric of existence. These Eastern perspectives provide alternative frameworks for understanding the unity and interconnectedness of all things. In some Gnostic systems, the Supreme Being is known as the Monad, the One, the Absolute, Aeon Telos, the Perfect Aeon, Bythos, Depth or Profundity, Proarchy, before the beginning, Hierarchy, the beginning, the ineffable parent, and or the primal father. Prominent early Christian Gnostics like Valentinus taught that the monad is the high source of the pleroma, the region of light constituting the fullness of the Godhead. Through a process of emanation, various divine entities and realms emerge from the One. Arranged hierarchically, they become progressively degraded due to their remoteness from the Father. The various emanations of the One, totaling 30 in number, or 365 according to Basilides, are called aeons. Among them exists Jesus, who resides close to the Father, and the lowest emanation, Sophia, wisdom, whose fall results in the creation of the material world. According to Theodoret's book on heresies, the Arab Christian Monimus used the term monad to mean the highest god that created the lesser gods, or elements, similar to aeons. In some versions of Christian Gnosticism, especially those deriving from Valentinus, a lesser deity known as the Demiurge had a role in the creation of the material world, separate from the monad. In these forms of Gnosticism, the God of the Old Testament, Yahweh, is often considered to have been the Demiurge, not the monad, or sometimes different passages are interpreted as referring to each. The Apocryphon of John gives the following description. The monad is a monarchy with nothing above it. It is he who exists as God and Father of everything, the invisible one who is above everything, who exists as incorruption, which is in the pure light into which no eye can look. He is the invisible Spirit, of whom it is not right to think of him as a god or something similar, for he is more than a god, since there is nothing above him, for no one lords it over him. For he does not exist in something inferior to him, since everything exists in him. For it is he who establishes himself. He is eternal. He does not need anything, for he is total perfection. Whatever your view on God might be, the concept of the monad is an interesting perspective, to say the least. I personally like the idea of a monad a lot, but it does not take anything away from the lesser gods, which I like to praise a lot, as you probably noticed at this point. And there still might be one high god who would act as a personal god so many Christians pray to, but so far his name seems to be unknown to us. Now we are coming to the end of this video. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to support my work, then give a like to the video, and please check out my Patreon. I also want to extend a big thank you to all my Patreons. I can tell you right now that if I was in this to make money, I would have chosen a different area of study, for sure. And also, those who sign up for my Patreon gets all my written material, which for instance contains all the sources used for my scripts. Anyways, I will see you in the next one, mortals.